After being brutally assaulted by a stranger, a woman surprisingly began writing letter after letter. 23 in total. Professing affection to the very monster who had violated her, now imprisoned. Not only that, she insisted on visiting him weekly, and ultimately used her own forgiveness to help secure his early parole. While everyone condemned her choices, she smiled and welcomed this monster into her own home. Upstairs in this house lay a meticulously disguised honey trap. Downstairs, a hell far more terrifying than prison awaited him. Anna was a nurse at a small-town hospital, on the verge of being promoted to a clinical nurse with operating room privileges. A role that came with a substantial raise. She'd even begun planning to sell her old house for something bigger, but being something of a neatness perfectionist, she remained single as she approached 30. Hoping to help her find someone, a co-worker set her up with a man, swearing he was clean-cut and refined. Those words, clean and refined, were enough to pique Anna's interest, and she decided to host the date at her own home. That romantic evening, however, would become the guillotine that ended her happy life. On the day of the date, Anna was carefully painting her nails at home, preparing for the evening ahead, when a knock came at the door. Assuming it was her date, she opened it with a flicker of anticipation, but standing there instead was a disheveled stranger. Out of politeness, she suppressed her discomfort and let him in. Once inside, feeling her loungewear wasn't appropriate, she quietly asked him to wait a moment while she went to change into a proper dress. What she didn't realize was that while she was changing, the man crept toward her bedroom door. When she emerged in her new outfit, he looked her over absent-mindedly and blurted out a flippant, inappropriate compliment. The comment set off alarm bells in Anna's mind. She suddenly understood this man was nothing like the clean and refined match her coworker had described. To test her suspicion, she called out the real date's name. The man showed no reaction. Anna's heart sank, and she immediately told him to leave. At first, he wore a mocking smile and reluctantly moved toward the door. Anna thought the awkward scene was ending, but instead of leaving, he locked the door. Anna sternly warned him she'd call the police if he didn't go. By then, however, he was consumed entirely by lust. He grabbed her by the hair, and no matter how she struggled, she couldn't break free. After the assault, the madness in his eyes faded, and he realized the unforgivable crime he'd committed. He fled the scene in a panic. Shortly after, the real date arrived, flowers in hand. Knocking and getting no answer, uneasy, he pushed open the unlocked door. And was met with a sight he'd never forget. Horrified, he immediately called the police. When Anna regained consciousness, she was lying in a hospital bed, her body covered in injuries, her neck marked by her attacker's hands. The medical exam and police evidence collection felt like a second violation to her. Fortunately, using the clues and evidence she provided, police captured the attacker. A man named William. Within 5 hours, but the legal verdict fell far short of healing the deep wounds in Anna's heart. William was sentenced to just 3 years. A number that felt utterly insignificant against a life completely shattered. From then on, Anna's world fell apart. She developed severe PTSD, plagued by endless nightmares at night. Her father, watching his daughter suffer, felt helpless to ease her pain and could only stay quietly by her side. Worse, the trauma began eating away at her career. Anna noticed her once rock-steady hands had started trembling uncontrollably. She initially chalked it up to temporary muscle tension, but no matter how she tried to relax, the shaking wouldn't stop. For someone about to become a surgical clinical nurse, this was devastating. Despite her best efforts to hide it, her supervisor eventually noticed and